Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere. Beast! Peekaboo, I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available Christmas 2029, the album, Dad, AF. Rock on, girl, dust woman. Beast! I went to a party last Saturday night. I didn't get laid. I got in a fight. Kiss me once. Come on, pretty baby. Kiss me deadly. I needed to revert to my old playlist today just so I could feel my oats a little bit as I was talking about, as I'm going to be talking about, as I'm going to be, and I was, and I always will be talking about Jeffree Star. No matter if I am blocked or not, which I just found out, I am blocked again. Anyway, we're going to get into that in just a second. Let me just tell you about my last 24 hours, okay? It has been like a psychedelic ride at the carnival, okay? Last night, I started watching 9 Perfect Strangers. I had it on my list of TV shows to watch for quite some time. I actually had the Audible book downloaded, and I never listened to it. Liam O'Riordan is like one of my favorite authors of life. Last year, I read Apples May Fall, and I've read Big Little Lies, and I love her so much. So I wanted to read the book, but I never had. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start watching this show because this couple that we met from the UK, they said it was like one of their favorite shows ever. So I started watching it last night, and I literally like binge watched the entire show. Now, I don't know, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody, so I won't be doing any spoilers over here. But I don't know if you know what this show is about, but let me just tell you, it's a wild ride, okay? It's like a darker version of White Lotus. Like, let me just say that, okay? Then today, we went to my nephew's 7-year birthday party at Pinhead's in Noblesville, Indiana, which is a, let's see, it is a bowling alley, arcade, restaurant. It's got so many things in there, but what it has the most of is kids under the age of 10 running around like this. We want tickets, we want tickets, they're all like getting these tickets so they can trade in tickets for like the big combs and for the stuffed animals and boxes of candy so they can be even more wired later at night. So anyway, that was my experience this afternoon. It was a little crazy. So the last 24 hours of my life have been kind of like, this emotional roller coaster. So anyway, now here I am, and we are going to talk about Jeffree Star today. Now, I have to tell you, now y'all know I love a good reading hour, right? Okay, so, you know one of my favorite books of life is The Lonely Doll, The Life and Times of Jeffree Star. Now, I was at Target today, and I was looking through the books, and I was trying to find the newest. Now, I heard this book was released. I couldn't find it anywhere, and it was Jeffree Star and the Illuminati. I was like, why can't I find this book anywhere? Now, if you know, in the past, now if you've watched my videos on my other channels, you know, I ordered these 2 fantastic little golden books. The first one is on Dolly Parton. I love her so much. Oh my God, Dolly Parton. I'm dreaming of a Smoky Mountain Christmas. You can take the girl from the country, I have heard them say, but you cannot take the country from the girl. I love that movie so much, Smoky Mountain Christmas. But anyway, so I'm going to read this on my Peter Does Stuff channel. I've been meaning to do that for a while. So I found, I bought my little golden book about Dolly Parton, and then I also had purchased my little golden book about Betty White, who passed. So sad, isn't it? But today, when I was at Target, while I was looking for my little golden book about Jeffree Star and the Illuminati, which apparently they don't have, even though he's like the most famous person in the entire world, TMZ was flying all over his ranch, I don't know, looking for the camels or something like that. But anyway, I found my little golden book about Frida Kahlo, which I'm going to read. And then I also found my little golden book about Beyonce. I can't wait to read about that. Oh my God. And then my little golden book about Carol Burnett. They boogered her in that picture. Look at her. Okay. And then finally, my little golden book about Lucille Ball. So anyway, I'm going to be reading all of those on my Peter Does Stuff channel. If somebody out there can find my little golden book about Jeffree Star and the Illuminati, please send it to me, because I would love to read that from my Peter Does Stuff channel, but I cannot find it anywhere. So I don't know if he's still part of the Illuminati, if they're trying to kill him, if they're trying to get him. I don't know. Maybe he said the helicopter. Well, I'm going to show you in this video. He said his helicopter was TMZ, but I was like, well, maybe it's the Illuminati, Jeffree. I don't know that I would be showing all of that, you know? But anyway, he said it didn't matter because his security guard had the Uzi ready. What? Okay. Okay, Jeffree. So anyway, let's talk about Jeffree Star today. So Jeffree Star, a couple days ago, I think it was like 2 days ago, he came out on an Instagram story, and this is like in reference to the whole Morphe thing and talking about Morphe and addressing Morphe, because of course, you know, everybody's wanting to know what Jeffree Star thinks. It has come out, I don't know how much you know about this, that Morphe owes Jeffree Star, I think between like $1 and $2 million. They owe Jaclyn Hill like $2 million. They owe James Charles like $1 or $2 million. And apparently this is non-secured funds that they're not going to get back. Non-secured credit is what it's called. So apparently they're not going to get paid this money. I don't know, because Morphe, you know, is shutting down its stores and filing for bankruptcy and all this kind of stuff. So apparently they're not going to get this money. And so a lot of people are asking Jeffree Star now, you know, like, well, what do you think about, you know, Morphe and whatever? And so of course he's taking this opportunity to come out and say, you know, well, this year I've got, well, let me just show you what he had to say in his Instagram story. Here you go.
What is going on? They're so close to the fucking mountain. It's a little interesting. Y'all trying to see some yaks, or what's going on up there? They're staying so close to the mountain. Huh. Hi, yaks. There's the helicopter. It dipped one more time. All the yaks were upset, and then they left. So, who knows who the fuck that was, but my security guard had the Uzi ready. So, there's a lot to be revealed this year, so sit tight. A lot of people have been asking me my opinions about a lot of stuff. Morphe filing for bankruptcy, all the beauty community is literally extinct. And there's so much that you guys don't know, and not gossip, not tea, but the reality of everything that was going on behind the scenes. And I'm open to share some of that and give you guys a glimpse of what the hell I was put through, the literal hell. But there's a lot of insights, so stay tuned. I made a really good TikTok about that, and it'll go up this weekend. But hi guys, how are you? I also really appreciate people checking in on me, making sure I'm good. There's been a lot of weirdness lately, Miss Thing, but I'm safe and sound. I will be going to LA very soon. Someone really massive that has a very huge podcast has invited Miss Jeffree Star Lynn on the show, and bitch, it's gonna be fucking nuts. So this year I have a lot more talking to do.
So that's what Jeffree Lynn had to say. Now, I have to tell you something funny that happened. I don't know if this is like God speaking or what. Let me put on a little lip gloss while I'm getting ready. The lip gloss is my favorite part of the video. But I looked down at my phone while I was like taking a pause from the video, and Words with Friends came up. I don't know if that's like a sign from above that I'm supposed to be playing Words with Friends again or something. I played it during the lockdown. I was like constantly playing Words with Friends, but I haven't played it since then. But anyway, so Jeffree Lynn said that this 2023 is the year that he's going to come out and he's going to talk about how he was backstabbed and he was made the villain of the beauty community and all this kind of stuff, right? I think it's going to be really interesting if he does actually come out and talk about this stuff. What he's doing is he's feeding out this book that he has coming out this year. His supposed memoir that he's going to do, which for me is really interesting. I just have to say that if you were Jeffree Star and you were going to write a memoir about your life, you know, you would think that like maybe like a third of that would be about like your growing up. I mean, if you're writing to an audience that really is interested in you, a third of that would probably be about your growing up years and what that was like, because a lot of people that are interested in Jeffree Star are really interested in like him coming, you know, from all of these like kind of meager backgrounds and things like that, and what his childhood was like. And then the next part of that would be like his music career and getting started on MySpace and touring with the Warped Tour and all of that, right? And then the next part, well, I guess it would be in fourth. So then the third part of that would be maybe about him starting his makeup career and his rise to fame on YouTube and all that. And part of that would also be talking about the drama that he had in, you know, the YouTube space and with other YouTubers and things like that. And then the fourth part of that would be kind of like where he's at right now. So the idea that he is feeding out all this drama to get people to be interested in his story, or if it's a marketing tactic for his new release, this Wyoming winter skincare that he has coming out, which I think that's exactly what this is. I think that's really where the, where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. I don't really think that he's going to come out and share a bunch, right? And I'm going to tell you why. Because there are enough drama channels out there, and there are enough people that know the truth of what really happened behind the scenes from Jeffree and from other people, that if Jeffree comes out and he only tells, like, let's say 2/3 of the truth, and he wants to blame it on other people, even if those people don't want to come out and tell their truth on it, drama channels, at least one or two, are going to be like, okay, Jeffree, you want to point the blame at, Manny MUA or Laura Lee or, this person or James Charles or whatever. But or Tati Westbrook, let's really talk about what was really going on behind the scenes. Because there are a lot of people other than Jeffree Star that really know the truth, Now, Manny and Laura don't really want to get into drama. They don't really want to talk about it, but on their podcast, they are starting to kind of like talk a little bit more about these different things. Even if you don't agree with their opinion, they're starting to talk a little bit more about it. I kind of believe that if Jeffree came out and blamed them for a lot of the downfall of the beauty community, I mean, he comes out in his story and he says the beauty guru community is like, extinct at this point. Well, that's not really true. I mean, and really, it's not true at all when we talk about like TikTok, the TikTok space, In fact, I'm going to be doing a video, I think tomorrow or Monday, on how that's not true at all. And there's a lot of money that's being spent within the beauty space on TikTok and other places. So no, that's not true. I think people just aren't interested in Jeffree Star as much as they were in the past. People are just not as interested in a lot of these other people, But, Manny and Laura, or Manny and Tati and Laura and, some of these other people, they still get pretty good views. They don't get the same views that they were getting before, but they're still getting pretty good views comparable to what they were getting before. And I think that they're okay with that, right? Like, I think that they've accepted that. It only seems like Jeffree Star is the person that is like looking at this comparison study of I was getting 20 million views and now I'm getting 1 million or 2 million views, and it's this huge slide backward. And so it's got to be horrible for me, right? So I'm sitting there watching it. And the next thing that happened was that I think it was like the next day, he put out this Instagram story, and I was like, oh, now I understand why he's coming out and he's talking about how 2023 is his year to talk and tell the background of what really happened, okay? So here's what he had to say. I think this was like the next day. Here you go.
Oh, good morning, everyone. We are an hour away from Miss Wyoming Winter, the skincare collection. Now, I've been using this for a long time now. I tested this almost 2 years ago, and bitch, it fucking works. It's amazing. All the products are incredible, from the lip oil to the hand salve. Miss Thing, Jeffree Lynn has a hand salve. It is so good. If you're watching this and your husband or your boyfriend has dry fucking hands, girl, Miss Thing, get him the hand salve.
So there you go. Jeffree Star's coming out with his Wyoming winter skincare release. And, I have to just say, when I look back on covering drama for the last, 6.5, 7 years, coming up on 7 years, Jeffree Star is kind of the person that, I wouldn't say he necessarily invented it, but I would definitely say that he manipulated it and made it his own to turn any kind of drama into a marketing tool, right? And so anything that he's going to talk about, anything that he's going to feed out, he's going to feed it out in a way that is going to make people start wondering, start talking, start looking at what he's doing. If you go back to the first, Instagram story that I showed you, he said that he was coming out with this kind of tell-all that he was going to do, and that he was going to talk a lot about the beauty community, and he was going to post it on TikTok this weekend, all right? Now, I went over to his TikTok to look to see if he had posted. I'm still waiting for Trisha Paytas to make this huge announcement, too. She said she was going to make this huge announcement in January about, do you guys remember that? I'm like, okay, well, we're almost at the end of January, and Trisha Paytas still hasn't made this huge announcement about something huge in her life. I mean, at the time, people speculated, is it a book? Is it a Broadway play? You know, is it that she's going to be in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Not. I mean, we're still waiting, you know, to see what this big announcement is that Trisha Paytas is going to make. Or was it her skincare line? Was her skincare line her huge announcement? I hope that that was not her huge announcement. No offense, Trisha, but I really hope it wasn't. And I just have to say, as a person that loves RuPaul's Drag Race, I really found the twins, Sugar and Spice, very endearing on the show, and I really liked their whole storyline, and, you know, and I think that people didn't really give them a chance from the start, and I think that they are really great drag queens. But let's just be real. Like, so one of them did Trisha Paytas. I think it was Sugar. Did Trisha Paytas in Snatch Game. And Trisha is like nonstop tweeting out about this. And I'm like, girl, okay, I love you. And not. Sometimes it just falls out of my mouth. I saw somebody tweet out the other day, why do we tell people that we love them when we don't even know them that well? Isn't that the truth so much? I love you so much. Okay, but anyway. But Trisha keeps on tweeting out about this Sugar and how much she loves them for doing this Snatch Game. Girl, it was like, if I sat there and watched this Snatch Game, I would have had no idea. And Trisha even said something like, because this Lucy LaDuca did Joan Rivers fantastically. I mean, it was the most fantastic Joan Rivers I've ever seen. And Trisha put out some tweet, something like, how many Joan Rivers do we need? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, obviously joking to bring attention to the fact that Sugar did Trisha Paytas. But I was like, that was literally the worst Trisha Paytas impersonation I have ever seen in my entire life. No offense to you, Sugar. You're a beautiful drag queen. Okay, your Trisha Paytas impersonation is not where it's at. I'm sorry, okay? But anyway, I digress from this. So anyway, so I go over to Jeffree Lynn Starr's TikTok because I'm like, oh, I want to see if he released this TikTok, this, you know, mind-blowing, Illuminati following, you know, TikTok where everybody's going to be hearing the secrets of the beauty community. And I go over and I search for Jeffree Star, and nothing pulls up. And I'm like, wait a second, what's going on? Now, I know I used to follow Jeffree Star, and I'm like, so I type it in again, Jeffree Star on my phone. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I couldn't figure it out, right? And I'm like, so I go to my computer, okay, and I go to my my little sock account, and I pull up TikTok, and I'm like, oh, I get it now, because there it is. I thought, well, is there something wrong with Jeffree Lynn's TikTok? And I'm like, oh, Jeffree Lynn. Oh, no, wait a second. It must be his team. It must be the team of the Lonely Doll. Okay, wait a second. Okay, wait a second. Let's go back and not forget about Jeffree Star on Shane Dawson's mind-blowing series, 3 Days in Wyoming. Please, Shane Dawson's series, 3 Days in Wyoming, the mind-blowing series. Shane, Jeffree, please release another palette. Please, Jeffree. But anyway, that series, when Jeffree stood in the kitchen and he said he could care less about drama anymore and he hardly ever gets on his phone. That Jeffree, do you remember that Jeffree? Okay. That Jeffree has gone in sometime in the last month or two and has blocked me on TikTok. Because I know I was following him before then. And I think it was a lot sooner than that. And so I'm like sitting there and I'm like, why would Jeffree, I mean, I don't talk about Jeffree Star's TikToks very often over here. I don't remember the last time that I like shared one in a video. I don't really share TikToks anymore. I made that very, very clear, I don't know, a couple weeks ago because of like copyright things that are happening with TikToks. So I'm like, why is Jeffree Star blocking me? This lowly drama channel that doesn't even get any kind of views compared to him, right? Like, why is he so concerned about me seeing it? I mean, obviously he has to know that I'm going to be able to see this TikTok or that somebody's going to send it to me or something, right? So he just wants to make it more difficult for me, I guess. I don't know. But I'm like, or is it that he doesn't want certain drama channels to be like right on his game that he's not actually coming out and talking about this beauty drama? Because he hasn't. And if you go to his TikTok, I will tell you what it is. It is ad after ad after ad. I mean, the last 5 TikToks are literally all about his newest release. And it was interesting looking at this because then I was kind of like rolling through Instagram and stuff like that. he's had me blocked on Instagram for a long time. What's interesting is Jeffree Star had me blocked on Twitter, then he unblocked me on Twitter. Now I'm unblocked on Twitter. I'm unblocked on Twitter. I'm blocked on TikTok. I'm blocked on Instagram. Girl, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I can't figure it out to save my life, okay? I feel like I'm in that TV show 9 Strangers like I just watched last night. I can't figure it out, you know what I mean? So anyway, but I go on to Instagram and I'm looking at Jaclyn Hill stuff. And Jaclyn Hill's doing this Instagram story of these they look like Diamonique from QVC. Okay, they look like straight up junk. I'm sorry, but they just do. And she's like talking about these bracelets and, you know, how she stacks them. This is the truth about Jaclyn Hill. She talks about how she always wears these pieces of jewelry that she sells, and this is her favorite and that's her favorite. Girl, I don't ever see her. Maybe it's just me, but like I don't ever see Jaclyn Hill in the jewelry that she talks about. I don't, right? And unless she's linking something, like the other day she linked this extravagant trench coat that she had, and I got all of these DMs from people that said, is Jaclyn so stupid that she doesn't think that we would go check and know that the trench coat that she linked is not this Abercrombie trench coat that she linked it to? Like, we're not stupid. And she does that a lot. Like, Jaclyn will, like, have a scarf on in a picture, and then she links it to some scarf that kind of looks like it, but really isn't the same scarf. Which really, I mean, I don't know what that is called in the sales world or whatever, but it's not honest, you know? And so I'm looking at this, and then I'm looking at Shane Dawson, who has just come out with new merch, right? On the heels, on literally the day after he and Ryland announced their engagement, Shane Dawson comes out with new conspiracy merch, okay? For his podcast. And I'm like, okay, so Shane uses his engagement to tout this merch out. Jaclyn Hill can't shut her mouth about every product that she's selling. And Jeffree Star is still to this day in 2023 using drama to push sales of this new release of this winter Wyoming hand salve. Okay, he said every man out there needs this hand salve or something like that. Get you some Tiger Balm. I don't know. I mean, I just was like, what? I'm so confused by all this, and all y'all are is a bunch of snake oil salesmen. That's all you are. I mean, it really is at this point. And people want to know why. You know, I was looking at some of these like new beauty TikTokers and lifestyle TikTokers like this Alex girl and all this kind of stuff. And I was looking at some Michaela's because a lot of people like Michaela. I know a lot of people have issues with her, but I was looking at her TikToks too. And I was looking at some of these other TikToks because I kind of wanted to see what the pull was of these people, okay? Well, I'll tell you what the pull is of these people. That these people are not pushing their products. I mean, some of them are, okay? But even then, it's like not every TikTok that they're doing is a sponsored TikTok. And they're very kind of like subdued about how they do it. Dishonest. Well, a lot of people told me that Michaela is pretty dishonest in her disclosure of sponsorships. I don't know about that. I can look into it if you would like me to do that. Because I have a real issue with people not disclosing their sponsorships. But when I was looking into all of this kind of stuff, you know, yes, I'm talking about certain brand trips and things like that is what I was talking about and what I'm looking into. But when I was looking into that, you know, what's really happened in the last couple years on YouTube is that a lot of these people that have gotten less views and have really lost a lot of their, you know, interaction with their subscribers is because they're not posting videos anymore that are just like, hey, let me show you who I am as a person. Let me show you who, like, let me just sit down and talk to you guys as an audience and do a get ready with me. Let me do a Jeffree Star approved video. I mean, they don't really do those videos anymore, right? Their videos are strictly for sales tactics. Strictly, okay? And so when you see a video and then the next day that person's coming out with merch or that person's coming out with a, you know, a brand deal or that person's coming out with a new release or something like that, then all of their videos, TikToks or whatever just seem like commercials. And I don't know about you. Maybe I can only speak for myself. But I don't want to get on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram and watch a bunch of commercials. I really don't. And I'll be honest with you, when I do watch TikTok and I'm scrolling through, like I'll watch a TikTok and then I go to the next one and the next one's like, what kind of coffee do you drink? Have you ever tried this? And I'm like, next. I don't even watch those. The ones that are like absolute commercials. And then when you get to the ones and you're scrolling, then you get to this one and it's like, you know, some girl and she's like, I've been using this lotion for 6 months now. I'm like, next. I don't even like those ones that are kind of ads, right? So, but all of these people are so consumed in making money now that that's all they care about, right? And what is Jeffree Star going to do? He's going to get the whole beauty community that was here before, like Manny and Laura, because let's just be for real who it is, okay? He's talking about Manny, he's talking about Laura, he's talking about James, he's talking about Tati, he's talking about the same, because he's not going to come out and talk about Nikki Tutorials, he's not going to come for her, he's just not. He's not going to come against Jaclyn Hill, because Jaclyn Hill has been so supportive of Jeffree Star from the get-go. He's not going to come out against those people. He just isn't, okay? If he tells any kind of truth, he's going to have to come for Manny or Laura or James or Tati, right? So of that, what do you have to say that you haven't said already? I mean, there's a few things that we know or that we've heard through the grapevine that, hey, that's not my story to tell. You come out in a video and you tell that truth. I want to hear you tell that truth is what I want to hear you do, okay? You want to gain that kind of respect from people? You go out there and you tell your truth of what you think really happened. But what Jeffree's going to do is, he's not going to name anybody. He's going to say, people used me for merch sales. People used me for collaborations. People used me to climb to the top, and I let it happen. And what we're not going to do, because I'm not that person anymore, and I've grown, and even if I'm out here on this ranch, and all I have is just my camels and my yaks, at least it's a lot better than having a bunch of snakes in LA that are just climbing to the top. Girl, let me just tell you something, okay? Those beauty gurus, they have all minded their own business. Laura and Manny are doing a podcast. They are less bothered with you, okay? They could care less. Manny wants a boyfriend. That's what Manny wants, okay? Laura has started an entire new brand, and, you know, Nikki Tutorials is doing fantastic on her own. Jaclyn Hill, well, you know, I mean, James, he still needs a lot of work. Let's just be for real, right? And Tati seems very happy in what she's doing, you know? So why does Jeffree feel now the need to bring this up and to stir the pot? Because his sales are down. Because he's not doing any good at his sales. His sales aren't making any money. And he's got to do something to get the attention back on him again, right? Well, here you go. Here's your attention that you wanted, okay? You might want to unblock me from all these things so at least I can see them, so that when I'm talking about you, to bring the drama to you, so that this drama that you don't want, and I know that people out there that love Jeffree are going to be like, no, Jeffree doesn't want the drama anymore. Then why would he ever get an Instagram story and say that he was going to tell some truths in 2023? Okay, let's just look, when you want to talk about power differentials, okay, in the world, because we talk a lot about that in relationships and situations. When you go back and you look at who had the power, okay, in those relationships, and who could have just said, I mean, Jeffree could have said to any of those people, I'm not going to do a collab with you. I'm not going to use you for, I'm not going to let you use my company for merch. He could have said that at any given time. He didn't, right? So he's going to come out with this whole scenario that he's the victim and he got played, and that these people used him for financial growth. That's what it's going to all be about. But he's not going to name any names because he doesn't want to bring in all of that drama. But I'm going to tell you right now, I really do believe this. I think people have kind of had it, in all honesty, and I think there are a lot of people out there that have kind of sat on the truth for a while. I think Gabriel Zamora is one of those people. I think Gabriel Zamora is a friend I'd like to have, okay? Because she's that friend that you have in the back seat of your car while you're driving around. Hold on a second, I got my fountain pop right here, okay? Did you ever do this and your dad would go crazy? Oh, my dad hated that back in the day when I blow bubbles in my fountain pop. But Gabriel Zamora is kind of like that friend that you have in your back seat while you're driving around with your good Judy Tana Jean, you know? And you're talking and you're telling a story, right? And you're like, oh yeah, and did you hear this about Judy Smith? And did you hear that about Judy Smith? And all of a sudden from the back seat you hear, well, I heard something about Judy Smith that neither one of you know. That's Gabriel Zamora, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, Gabriel and a couple other people out there, I think they know everything and exactly what happened in Los Angeles and with the beauty community. So Jeffree's going to have to play this very smart. Because a couple people, if one person comes out and just says, hey, this is what happened and whatever, no, it's not going to do that great. But this is the other thing, right? Jeffree doesn't have the power that he had 3 or 4 years ago. So one person could come out and it really could hurt him. But if one person comes out and 2 or 3 people come out and back that person and double down and say, that's exactly what happened, it could be what really ruins Jeffree Star's career overall. So do I believe that Jeffree Star is going to come out and do some huge tell-all about the beauty community? First of all, I don't really think there's tons to tell. There's a few things that have never been talked about, that have been alleged behind the scenes, and I don't think Jeffree Star is going to come out and talk about that, right? And those aren't even necessarily the things that ruin the beauty community. Jeffree Star doesn't want to come out and talk about what his pardon was at, you know? I'll tell you what I would like in 2023 is I'd like for Jeffree Star to get in a video and actually own some of his own truths and some of his behaviors and what he was part of and what he did and how he endorsed certain people that were problematic through the years and how he has continued to stay problematic and hasn't changed, you know? The only way that I've noticed that Jeffree Star has changed in the last couple months, let's say, is that he really hasn't spoken up and he really has kind of just like stayed out of stuff and said, oh, I'm going to do this museum, or, you know, here I'm selling yak meat, or now I bought camels. Like, he really hasn't stirred up any drama. So the only thing that I can think of why he is bringing this up now is because of this release. It has to be. It's all a marketing tactic, you know? Do I think that he'll talk about Morphe and talk about how good he was to Morphe? Yeah, he has nothing to lose by talking about Morphe, and everybody's talking about Morphe, and everybody hates Morphe right now, right? So that's safe. He'll come out and talk about Morphe, and he'll say Morphe screwed him, and he was so good, and they should never have gotten rid of him, and blah, 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 blah. But I think the thing that people have to remember at that time was that people like were forcing Morphe into this position of, you got to get rid of James and you got to get rid of Morphe. You can't continue to support them because they're so problematic by the actions that James and Jeffree had done. It wasn't like they had done nothing and Morphe just one day said, poof, be gone before somebody drops the house on you. It was because of the actions that Jeffree and, Jeffree and James had done, you know? And the thing is this, is like, and this is why, like, I think so many people that used to talk about Jeffree still don't, like, they don't focus on it anymore. It's like, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at, like, his release photos and his launch photos and stuff, and I'm like, seriously? Like, I mean, can we just talk about this for 2 seconds? It's very performative, you know? And I'm like, there's so much to me that it's like Jeffree will do whatever he can to get away from certain things and then say, I'm not that person, I was never that person, whatever, without like actually sitting in a video and just like kind of addressing it all with his audience, which I've said for 2 years would be a really smart move for him, but he's so afraid of that, right? He always wants to come across as so arrogant, I'm not bothered with drama, I don't care about all this kind of stuff. Then sit down in a video and just talk to your audience. Talk about what you're afraid of. Talk about the fact that you're afraid that you're not relevant on YouTube anymore, and that's why you had to go over to TikTok to get the views over on TikTok. Instead of saying the beauty community is extinct, there's a lot of people in the beauty community space on YouTube, a lot of smaller creators that are very, very happy over there. I get recommended to them all the time, and they get 500 views, or 1,000 views, or 10,000 views. I just talked about Elle Leary Artistry the other day, you know? She's very happy with what she does. There's a lot of people that are really happy with what they do. Just because you're not doesn't mean that that's, you know, the status quo for everybody in the beauty space on YouTube. And there's a lot of people that have favorites, you know, within the beauty space on YouTube. And they have a lot of people that they still watch. Just because you're not one of them doesn't make that the status quo. You know? And I know that there are a lot of people that are going to follow Jeffree over to TikTok and whatever. And fine, that's great. I can't because I'm blocked. Anyway, so what do you think? Do you think Jeffree's going to come out with his truth and tell us? Do you really? All right. Pull this leg and it plays Jingle Bells. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.